take one car, a 13.5 kilometre track, a team of highly skilled engineers, mechanics and drivers, and race non-stop for 24 hours. It's the ultimate endurance challenge. It's Le Mans. At speeds topping 320 kilometres an hour, they race for over 5,000 kilometres. That's like racing from Paris to Istanbul and back, non-stop. It's equivalent to running an entire Formula One season in a single race. For the last 5 years, Le Mans has been dominated by one car, the Audi R8. This Goliath of German design and engineering has won 4 of the last 5 races. This year, a small British team believes they can beat it. But it's going to be the fight of their lives. Magny, Cours, France, on a freezing February morning. Deserted, except for one small band of die-hard motorsport professionals. Ian Bickerton has taken on the challenge of getting a car into shape that can beat Audi at Le Mans. With less than 5 months to go until the race, he has brought his Creation Autosport team here for 2 days of testing. The icy conditions at France's premier Grand Prix track are far from ideal. But Bix will do anything to get a head start on the competition.
The cold's going to be a little bit of a problem, the cold track. We're not going to get much tyre temperature, which is grip factor. So the speeds will be down, but it still means we can do other work with the car.
He's got a fraction of the budget of his main rivals, half as many people, and just one car. So it's crucial that every single test day produces improvements to both speed and reliability. Bix believes he's assembled the talent to get the job done.
Ian Smith's our chief engineer of the team. He deals with mainly the chassis and electronics.
I'll generate ideas and plans that we might carry out in a test to try and make the car go faster or to achieve some reliability goals.
He's a good young engineer, very practical. Andy Trim's our chief mechanic.
I tend to look after the gearboxes and also chief mechanic look after the guys as well.
Good problem solver, good motivator.
Hello.
The team's 2 drivers also play a crucial role in the engineering of the car.
Nick Manassian is our #1 driver. He came to us last year. He's ex-Formula 3000, IndyCar, F1 test driver.
My role in the team is to drive as fast as I can without crashing the car.
They don't call him Quick Nick for nothing. Jamie Campbell-Walter comes from a lot of GT racing.
Some people say he's just the monkey that connects the steering wheel to the pedals, but there's a little bit more to it than that.
Jamie can punch those lap times in lap after lap.
But the real star is the car itself. First designed in 2002, Creation's 500 horsepower DBA prototype has been developed into one of the fastest sports cars in the world. The main differences between this and a Grand Prix car are that the aerodynamic bodywork covers the wheels. There's a space by the driver for a very small passenger, and that this beast is designed for endurance racing, from 6 hours through to the full 24. In their first season, Creation stunned the sports car racing world with 3 pole positions and 2 podium finishes in their first 6 races. It was enough to win them a coveted invitation to take part in this year's Le Mans. But endurance racing is about achieving reliability as well as speed. And a series of mechanical failures means Creation now have their work cut out to turn this car into a machine capable of competing for 24 hours non-stop. They need to make some big changes. Changes that won't come cheap. Come Christmas, it was time for Ian Bickerton to have a serious chat with the team's owner. As well as being a successful businessman, Mike Jankowski has been passionate about racing since he was a boy. But as a private team owner, with few outside sponsors, Mike's going to have to dig deep into his own pockets to take on the competition at Le Mans.
They're all top class, professional teams running for many, many years.
The champion Audi team will be back for their third Le Mans, with 2 Audi R8s, the most consistently successful Le Mans car ever built. New rules restricting engine power will slow the Audis down a bit, but these cars have a reputation for bulletproof reliability.
The estimates of its cost were about $60 million, over and above the probably $100 to $150 million that Audi spent developing the car.
The Audi R8 is also the car of choice for French motorsport giant Oreca. With star driver Stéphane Ortelli leading an all-French driver lineup, this team is one of the favourites.
You're up against it, but the rules are changing. They're slightly moving against the Audi. They're reducing the Audi's power. It's a bigger reduction than we will get. Yeah, relative to us, we're actually improving our position.
Like Creation, another team out to topple the dominance of the Audis is Pescarolo. This French team is running 2 cars, modified to their own design.
It's a hybrid, which is, it's not a new car. It's made to a certain set of rules that allows its engines to have more power.
With at least 50 more horsepower, the Pescarolos will have the best top speed at Le Mans.
The Pescarolo car is a car to definitely be watched.
They're all tough, experienced, well-funded competitors who aren't about to give any slack to newcomers. For Mike, competing at Le Mans will be the fulfilment of a lifelong dream. But Bix knows that the £1 million Mike has already spent buying the car and setting up the team will not be enough. Creation need to improve both the performance and the reliability of the car before they can take on the unique challenges of Le Mans.
It's a Formula 1 car. You can imagine a Formula 1 car with bodywork. The technology in this car is the same. So to make it go and do 24 hours just to finish the race would be like winning at the moment.
Bix has a long list of changes he would like to make, and he's hoping Mike's not going to spoil his Christmas.
Now the car is known to us very well, and I think that we can, we're trying to just take it to the ultimate high level. Cheers. Le Mans.
Cheers, Le Mans.
Top of Bix's Christmas list, a new engine. It's January, and Bix has come to the Judd factory in Rugby, England, to find out if he's made the right decision.
Hello, John. Morning.
Judd will be supplying engines to 9 cars at Le Mans this year, and they've got a great track record for reliability.
Is this it then, John?
This is it. Here it is.
Fantastic.
Creation's engines will be based on a standard Judd V8.
Why don't you build the water?
2 rows of 4 cylinders arranged in a V with a total capacity of 3.4 litres and producing 500 horsepower. As part of the deal, Judd will be adding some development parts to the Creation engine which won't be available to any other team. And from now on, they'll develop a unique variant of the V8 optimised for Creation's car. Most of that development takes place in this small, dark, smelly and extremely noisy room. It's called a dyno, short for a dynamometer. Hook up an engine to this and it thinks it's on a racetrack. Here, Judd can run their engines for the equivalent of thousands of laps of any circuit in the world. The operator acts as virtual driver, simulating the actual throttle movements and gear changes that a driver would make on the track. Today, Creation's first engine is being run in preparation for their Magny Cours test.
I'm very impressed with how it looks. I'm sure it looked good in the car. Yeah, great. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming today.
The good news is that we're going to get an engine in about 2 weeks. The bad news is that you're going to have to write the big check out, mate.
Bix and Mike may be feeling good about their new engine choice right now, but they've just created a mountain of extra work for the team back at the workshop. Hardly surprisingly, you can't just bolt a completely different engine into a high-performance racing car. Engineer Ian Smith has had his work cut out redesigning, building and installing dozens of new components to accommodate the new V8.
And we've had to make a new exhaust system to fit this.
Finally, Creation can run the new engine for the very first time. And the deafening roar of the 500 horsepower V8 is music to their ears. So far, so good. But starting it up and watching the wheels go round in the workshop is one thing. It's only at a racetrack that it can really be tested. So that's why on a freezing February morning, Bix has brought his team to a deserted Magny Cours for 2 days of testing. It's the moment of truth for one of the biggest decisions of Ian Bickerton's career.
The set for the day is just to shake the engine down, check the gearbox, check the tyres. Hopefully it's going to warm up and we can do some work.
It's exactly 9 a.m. The track is open and it's time for Creation's lead driver Nick Minassian to take out the car for its first shakedown lap with the new Judd engine. He will be the eyes and ears of the engineering team out on the track.
I'm part of the development of the car because I give information to the engineer, and the engineer makes the modification in the car to improve the car.
You might get a cold oil alarm. If you do, don't take the revs above around 6,000.
Nick knows there's a lot at stake with this one lap, because after the new engine, second on Bix's Christmas list was a new tyre supplier.
We're hoping to pick some speed up with the tyre, but it's mainly a reliability factor.
For Nick, it will almost be like driving a completely new car. In the next few minutes, Nick will let Bix know whether he thinks these major changes have been money well spent.
Okay, Nick, straight round and back in. Give me a radio check on the corners around the circuit, please.
Nick exits the pits cautiously. It's an ice-cold track with cold tyres and an unfamiliar engine. Nick pushes through the gears and is already passing 250 kilometres an hour on the longest straight. He's feeling the forces from the engine and listening to the sound of every gear change. Back in the pits, the 2-minute lap seems to last an eternity. Past the first hurdle, the engine works, but how did it perform?
That was a good feeling, first of all, engine-wise, the car worked so well.
Nick is sent back out for a 5-lap stint. But almost immediately, he's on the radio. He's got an oil pressure warning light on the dashboard, an advance warning of potentially fatal engine failure. The first lap euphoria comes crashing down. Back in the garage, the engineers swarm around the car with their laptops, downloading data from the car's 3 onboard computers, which monitor and control the engine, the gearbox, and the rest of the car. The pressure mounts on engine supplier John Judd to find a solution. But according to his data, the engine is running smoothly.
I'm looking at a complete lap of Magny Cours from the first corner to the last corner. This is the driver's throttle trace. That's full throttle there, then off the throttle down the bottom. The yellow line is the oil pressure trace, and again that's looking remarkably good.
It seems like the problem is not with the engine itself, but with the electronics that monitor it. But they can't pinpoint the problem, so it's back out on the track for some traditional engineering trial and error.
Judgment until you've done another 3 laps or so.
The team makes a series of changes, but the problems won't go away. Precious testing time is being lost. Each time the car goes out, more and more warnings are coming up from the ECU, the electronic control unit.
The car's got a different engine and it comes with a different ECU. Probably the problem is that we're delivering water pressure to the data logger in bar, and the alarm threshold has been set in PSI. There's something's got confused in translation, I think.
It should be a simple fix to get the car's computers talking to each other again. That can wait until they get back to England. But the next crisis can't. A sudden drop in power makes the car impossible to drive. Back at the garage, the investigation begins. It's engine strip-down time. But Nick has a theory.
So it seems like there is not enough petrol to come to 1 or 2 cylinders.
Check that one. God, this one's bad. Is it? Yeah.
Sure enough, close inspection of the fuel injectors reveals some severe clogging. But John's forgotten to pack the spares. Hundreds of miles from the factory, John Judd is forced to improvise his fuel injection cleaning techniques. But he won't find out today whether he's fixed the problem, because the track has now closed and time has run out. For Ian Bickerton, it's been a wasted day. 10 grand of his testing budget down the drain. And for the mechanics, it means a late night at the garage, rebuilding, cleaning, checking and rechecking everything on the car. There's no room for error tomorrow. Back in England, Mike's heard the bad news. Time and money wasted, and a disappointing start to their relationship with Judd Engines.
I'm trying to get someone. This is exactly what happens when they're out in the circuit. They all know I'm calling. I want to know the information. And they don't pick up. Oh, God, please leave a message. Yeah.
He applies what pressure he can, but Bix doesn't need to be told. Bix is only too aware of exactly what this test is costing.
It's €1,047 an hour, which boils down to 17.4 euros a minute. I already know that.
You try and get a hold of Bix at any time when you need to get a hold of her. Yeah, okay.
Day 2 at Magny Cours, and it's time to play catch-up.
Hold it over the top and just try it.
Oh, we have to...
Bix is determined to turn things around.
Very frustrating day yesterday. Lack of laps, lack of miles, a lot of niggly little faults that shouldn't have happened, both on our side and other people's.
He's going to go and do 6 laps, then Jamie's going to get in and do 6 laps. At the end of each 6 laps, we put 15 litres of fuel in.
The extra pressure's already on today. The guys know where I'm at. Creation's got to pick the game up today. The drivers have, the crew have. We're going to have to get on and sort it out and do it.
Within seconds of the track opening for the day, Nick hits the gas. And there's no sign of yesterday's problems. Nick finds his rhythm and, despite the freezing conditions, starts putting in some fast times. Spirits immediately start to lift, and Nick gets his first long stint in the car.
Outrageous. The post a long stint is really just get some miles on the car, get some miles on the tyre.
It seems that the late night work done by Andy and his team of mechanics has done the trick. The car is running perfectly. Nick hands over to Creation's second driver, Jamie Campbell-Walter. With all of yesterday's problems, Jamie has had very little time in the car, and his lap times have been slow. With the engine running well, it's a chance for Jamie to clock up some laps and prove what he can do. And it's a chance for engine supplier John Judd to start fine-tuning the engine's electronics to improve performance. A process called mapping. The idea is that the engine's onboard computer will optimise the ignition timing and the fuel injection to precisely suit the Magny Cours circuit, corner by corner. It's like putting a map in the brain of the engine.
We test the engines on the dyno and we come up with the engine map, and then you have to tweak it, kind of fine-tune it on the circuit.
As well as performance, mapping helps fuel economy and can reduce the number of pit stops needed in a race.
Already, I mean, yesterday Jamie done a 33. He's got in the car today 3 laps, he's done a 31.6 in worse conditions and gone a second and a half quicker. So he's good actually, he does a good job.
It's looking pretty quick, I saw.
Nick's getting worried now because Jamie's starting to catch him.
I'm going to go in there. Boom, boom, boom.
Now it goes, whoa.
So you like the engine?
Back in the garage, it smiles all round.
Smiling, yes? Smiling.
My team stitched me up yesterday. I thought they loved me, but they don't. Because I've got in it today and it's like, it's like got another 100 horsepower basically, so it feels fantastic.
Finally, some good news for Mike back in England. And with the engine running well, Creation can now press on with testing new component number 2, their new Michelin tyres. But first, Smithy needs to find a stable setup for the car. Setup is all about making small changes to hundreds of adjustable components on the car.
A racing car is designed in such a way that it can be manipulated to suit each track it goes to. You can change the damper control of the car, the springs of the car, you can change the tyre pressures of the car, caster, the camber, the steering axis. The list is endless. Literally, it's endless. We can have an 1100 spring out ready to go.
Smithy is looking for the perfect combination of components and settings that will give the drivers a well-balanced car through all of Magny Cours' 15 different corners.
Ian's given us a piece of paper with basically what we think of the car through all of the corners. The rear spring didn't help it, like this corner, this corner, this corner, but it made it worse here. The chicane's a bit more understeer.
The feedback from the drivers is a crucial part of the setup process. And in this kind of racing, they need to find a solution that works for both of their driving styles.
Once we've found the balance in the car, we can then start the tyre test. It's very important, once you start the tyre test, you don't change the car. So you have to have the car has to be the same the whole way through, because if you're changing the car, you're not sure if it's the car that made the change or the tyre.
With the setup work completed, the tyre test can begin. Creation will be trying out different rubber compounds, different widths of tyres, and experimenting with tyre pressure. When they go to a race, tyre choices are absolutely vital to lap times. So Creation need to build up as much test data as they can about how their new rubber performs. Switching to Michelin tyres was an expensive choice for Bix and Mike. It's going to cost €1,800 for every set of 4 tyres. But it'll be worth it if they improve performance. And at a cold Magny Cours, they do just that. Nick rounds off a great second day of testing with an amazing achievement. With the new rubber on song, a good setup and a set of soft rubber tyres specially designed for the cold conditions, he sets a new sports car track record of 1 minute 28.34 seconds.
We've got the fastest sports car around Magny Cours now, and I think that's going to transpond into the fastest sports car in the world this year.
It's a massive confidence boost for the team on the first leg of their journey to Le Mans. But the hard work has only just begun.
There's 136 days to go from tomorrow. It's hard work. We've got some reliability issues to look at, but nothing too big, because to make reliable cars quick is hard. To make very quick cars reliable is dead easy. So yeah, rocking. Let's go.
Creation are on their way. Next, they'll face a showdown at the Paul Ricard circuit in the south of France. All the top European teams will be there, and Creation will really find out how their own preparations compare to their rivals. Will they have the pace? And as they attempt to run the car non-stop for 24 hours for the first time ever, can they finally achieve that elusive reliability?